Hi, I welcome you all to this session on the discussion of data analysis and interpretation section of Oliveboard's free SBI PO 2018 mains mock test. Now it's exactly 2 weeks left for the exam from today. It's exactly 2 weeks, and I just hope that your preparation is in full flow. This is the section that troubled a lot of people last time in SBI PO mains last year's 2017. This is the section that troubled a lot of people. There was a lot of discussion going on around about the difficulty level of this test, the change in pattern and whatnot. Yes, it was different last year, and if you look at this test, I'll say that this is quite similar to last year's SBI PO mains. I did not take the test, so it's based on the feedback that I got from the students, and a little on the tougher side when you compare it to that particular test. If you look at this test, I'll say a score of around 20-25 in this test was good, in this section I mean, and anybody who crossed a 30 did a very good job. A lot of questions were there which were a little tedious. There were some sitters as well, but very few in between. If I compare it to the actual paper of last year's mains, I think the number of easier questions there was a little towards the higher side had your question selection been good. Any test is about selecting the right questions, and obviously preparation and all is very important, but after preparation this would be mostly about question selection. You need to select the right questions to do it. So in this test also you could easily have done questions worth 20-30 marks if your selection is right and got them right with 100% accuracy. So the agenda for today is that I am going to discuss almost all the questions, everything, even the questions that I would not want you to do in the exam. You might have a trick or two to pick from there in case that's required in the actual exam, because you do not know about the difficulty level. It might be very tough, very easy, it can be absolutely anything. So if the paper is very tough, even a 15 out of 60 can be a good score, but you need to know how to deal with certain kinds of questions. So I'll just share whatever my observations are, whatever other things are there. We'll just keep talking in between, but let's just start with this. I'm going to run you through all the 35 questions in the section of data analysis and interpretation, and we'll keep discussing them. Any inputs I'll just keep sharing there in between as well. So let me just remove myself from the screen and show you the questions. I have tried to take the screenshots of the questions in a manner in which they are legible, so that you can read it with a decent resolution available to you. So if you have taken the test, very good. If you have not taken the test, I don't think anybody would be there who has not taken the test yet, but if you have still not taken the test because of any reason, you can probably just stay back on the question before listening to my explanations. For example, this is the first question in the section. This was question number, I think, 46 in the test. So before listening to the explanation, if you have not seen this question before, if you cannot recall it, you can just pause the video here and then move forward once you have read the question. So that's the way we are going to work here. Let me just come back to this. Let me just explain this question here to you. This is about quantity comparison. We had 5 questions of quantity comparison here in this test. The first 5 questions were about quantity comparison. Now in quantity comparison, at times you have to, it's similar to doing 2 questions, because they ask you 2 completely different things here, as is the case here. The first look, if you look at it, you might think I have to leave this, you might do it, but since you've got a lot of time in mains, you've got 45 minutes, you can probably just give it a reading, 10-15 seconds. So let's just try and read it that way. If it thinks it's too much, then you can probably leave that. A horse is tied with a rope of length 28 meters at one corner of a rectangular field having perimeter 204 and ratio of length width this. What is the area of the field that remains uncovered by horse? This is the first one, so you know you have to calculate the area of rectangle and then subtract the area of 1/4 of a circle from there. Not too difficult. If you look at the second one, what is the area of field excluding walk through? So it says you have to calculate the area of this rectangle, the bigger rectangle, and subtract this area from there, right? So this is the question. Does not look too difficult. Fine. So most of you who are familiar with a bit of mensuration should be able to handle it easily. Let's do it. What would you do in this one? If you look at this first quantity, this rope is given to you, so this would give you the area of that part of the circle, or 1/4 of the circle that needs to be removed from here. But before that, let's just do this area of rectangle first. Now, what is the perimeter given? This is 204 meters, and the ratio of length and width is given as 8:9. So the way you do it is, you can do this. if I take the actual length and width as 8 and 9 only, you can obviously take that ratio is given to you, then what would be the perimeter? Can you say it will be 8 plus 9 into 2? So this would be 34. But what is my actual perimeter? This is 204. So from 34 to 204. Use unitary method. How many times is this? This is 6 times. So basically your scale is 6. So if you are doing this, perimeter becomes 6 times. How many times would the area become if I take these assumed lengths of 8 and 9? Area with these lengths, length and width, these dimensions 8 and 9 would be 8 into 9, 72. Fine. But if the perimeter increases by 6 times, area would increase by 6 square times. That's the value. So this is your value of area here. So will not take any time. How much would this be? This is 72 into 36, which will give you 2592. So this 2592 meter square would be the first quantity, would be the area of this rectangle. What do you subtract from here? You have to subtract this quarter circle from here, because the figure would be like this, something like this. Fine. So you will subtract this kind of a area from this. Now what is the length of the rope that's given here? It's a very standard stereotype question. That's 28 meters. So if it's 28 meters, what would be the 1/4 of the area of the circle with radius 28 meters? That would be pi, let's take that 22 by 7 into 28 square divided by 4. Why 4? Because we are just taking one part of the circle, 1/4 of a circle. So all this you get 616 here. So what's the remaining area? What is this area then? This would be 2592 minus 616. Basic calculation, this gives you 1976. So my first quantity would be 1976 here. Some work, but yes, I can get it easily. I mean, if I know a bit of mensuration. Let's come back to the second quantity. Let's come to the second quantity now, quantity 2. Now we have to calculate the area of the remaining figure. If you look at this, what is the area of the bigger portion here? That's 48 into 52. That's given 48 and 52. And what would you subtract from here? The area of these pathways. So what would be the area of the pathways? If you look at this, it will be 4 into 48 plus 4 into 52. And what would you subtract from this? You will subtract 4 into 4. Why have you done that? Because this middle portion would be counted twice here. Fine. So you subtract this. So this part here gives you the area of the pathways. You subtract it. This is simple. This part is nothing but 4 into 100 only basically. So this is this part here would be 384. So this is 48 into 52 minus 384. How do you calculate 48 into 52 quickly? This is we can make use of this. A plus b, a minus b is equal to a square minus b square. Use these basic things if you know this. If you know this, this is same as, what is this? This is 50 plus 2, 50 minus 2. So you can write that as 50 square minus 2 square. 50 square everybody knows is 2500. So what is 50 square minus 4? That would be 2496. So this is a nothing calculation, 2496 minus how much was this? 384. This gives you this value as 2112. Yeah, so this becomes your quantity 2. In fact, I showed that to you complete. You could have left it here. The moment you realize this is 2496, this is close to 2500 and this is close to 400, you know that this value would be 2100. You've got this exact value. I've shown that to you because I wanted to just solve this complete. But once you arrive at this, for example, you know this 2592, 616, 2496, 384. So you know that you have to subtract 616 from this value and 384 from this value. You could have left it there because you can see that quantity 2 here is much bigger than quantity 1. But yeah, they were not so big that you would have approximated them. So you'll probably need to do this one. So the answer here in that case would be option B. Some work required, but this is a question that would have given you solid marks because you cannot get anything incorrect here. One thing that I wanted to tell you about these questions is, and just listen to me very carefully. One thing that I wanted to tell you about these questions is that if you look at the options, in most of these questions, option C and D would not be possible. If you think about that, how do you get option C and D? C is quantity 1 is greater than or equal to quantity 2. Now, if you look at these values here, except for probability questions in quadratic, quantity 1 and quantity 2 would have concrete values. If you solve 1, if you solve 2, would it be more than one value? No. So, it will be a concrete answer. So, answer can be 1 less than 2, 1 greater than 2, or 1 equal to 2. So, even if you look at probability, it's just 3 answers that are possible. So, most of the times you will not need to calculate the exact values, and you can just do it like that. But these are questions that I would want to do, because it's effectively just 3 options for me and not 5. Greater than or equal to quantity would be very, very rarely used. Just think about it. Anyway, let me just show you the second question then. This is your question number 2 here. Now, it's a question on partnership. How do we handle this? A and B entered into a partnership and invested money in the ratio 2:3. Simple statement, quantity 1. The value of A's share if the ratio of time period of their investments is 3:2. So, it's simple. If you look at this guy, A invests less but invests for a greater period. This is 2, this is 3. So, A's share 2 into 3, effective investment 2, investment 3, time period is to B's share 3 into 2. So, this is nothing but 1:1. So, their shares would be equal. Profit is 10,000. Profit 10,000 means what is the value of A's share? That would be 5,000. It's a simple one. I mean, you can get it very quickly. Look at the second one, quantity 2. C enters the partnership after 4 months. So, that's the condition that's given to you here. And then C also needs to draw a salary from this. Right. So, C was invested only for 8 months. Right. The ratio for A and B is given to you here. That's this ratio 2:3 from here. After that, B is to C is given as 6:5. So, to bring them or to get them in sync, let's just think of this 2:3 as 4:6. So, this is A, this is B, and where would be C then? This would be 5. So, we can say that the shares of ABC, the investments made by ABC are in the ratio 4:6:5. If the investments are in the ratio 4:6:5, are the effective investments also in the same ratio? No. Why not? Because C was invested only for 8 months. So, A for 12 months, B for 12 months, and C for only 8 months. So, how do you do it? Either you can multiply with 12, 12, 8, or just do a little smart work. You can say that whatever is the share of C according to this, A's and B's share would be multiplied by 3/2 or 12/8, whatever way you look at this. So, if I multiply this value 4 and this value 6 with 3/2, that would take care of that. So, how much would that become? This would be 6:9:5. Why did I do that? I did that because A and B invested their money for 1.5 times of C. So, C remains like that, and A's share and B's share gets multiplied by 1.5. So, this becomes the effective share here. Now, with this share of 9, how much does B get here? If you look at this, B gets 90,000. So, this is 90k. Now, according to this, 6 plus 9 plus 15, if you look at this, all this becomes 2 lakhs, the total thing for their investments. But somebody needs to draw a salary from this. So, whatever is apart from this 2 lakhs would be given in the form of salary. This is 2,40,000. So, 2,40,000 minus this 2 lakhs would be 40k. So, this 40k was the amount that was given as salary to C, this guy C. Now, this 40k was given in 8 months. If this was given in 8 months, what would be the monthly salary? That would be 5k. This was 5k, this is 5k. It means that the two values are equal here, and the answer would be option E. There was nothing here. Quantity 1 was very simple. Quantity 2, you have to do some bit of manipulation here, but if you can think like this directly, it would become much easier. There was nothing in it. Ratio of AB was given, ratio of BC was given, we get 465. A and B were invested for 12 months, C was invested for just 8 months. So, accordingly, we manipulate and arrive at this 6:9:5. 9 means 90,000. So, what does 20 means? 2 lakhs. So, 2 lakhs goes to the shareholders. The salary is not a part of it. 240 is the total amount that's given. So, 40,000 goes into the salary for 8 months. So, what is the monthly salary? 5k. And the two quantities have to be equal in this case. Answer becomes option E. I am showing you the next one now. Now, this is an easy one. For those of you who do not like geometry, want to leave geometry and all, I just keep saying don't leave it completely, because you might get a few easy questions from there, and it's an easy one. length of BC is what they want, the figure is given to you. You have to calculate this. It's given that line segment ED and BF are parallel. So this is parallel to this one. This is parallel to this one. Can you see that this angle here, this is 180 minus y. So what would be this angle? This would also be 180 minus y. If this is 180 minus y, if you look at this straight line FA, you can see that this angle would be y, but you can see that this is given as x. So it means what? X is equal to y here. It's simple. Now look at this triangle here. If you look at this triangle, this angle CGH is 90 degrees. So what is this? This is y again. If this is y, this is same as x. So y or x, whatever you call it. So what is this angle? This is again y, x, whatever you call it. What is this angle? If this is 2x, this is 2x. So basically you can say this angle is 2x. Let me just erase and write x only. This is x and this is x. So what is this? This is 4x is equal to 180 degree, 4 angles of a triangle. So it means that this is again a right angle triangle. This 2x is nothing but 90 degrees here. If this is 90 degrees, what is it like? This is 4, this side would be 4, and what would be this side here? 4 root 2. What is this 4 root 2? I am talking about BC here, which is 4 root 2. In a triangle which is 90, 45, 45, what is this triangle? This is a special triangle. It's an isosceles right angle triangle. So what is the length of the bigger side? It will be root 2 times the length of the two smaller sides. I mean, you don't need to do that. You can also do it like that. Root 4 square plus 4 square. This would be equal to root 32 here, which would be equal to 4 root 2. So you can do it like that, or you can just remember this. So this is 4 root 2. You have to compare it with 6 centimeter. Which of the two is a bigger quantity? Obviously 4 root 2 is smaller than 6 centimeter. So the answer would be option B. Quantity 1 is less than quantity 2. You know the value 4 root 2. Root 2 is around 1.4. So it's not going to cross 6 centimeter. An easy question, I would say. Everybody had to do it. Some knowledge of geometry, nothing much needed over here. Look at the next one. One thing again, learning from this, don't leave any topic. I don't know if it's too late to give this advice to you at this stage, but yes, some bit and everything does help. For example, if you leave probability completely, you might find a set of 3 questions, 6 marks from probability. That's like very easy. So that's the reason why I keep saying don't leave any topic, just do at least the basics of it. That helps. Anyway, look at this question now. Now this looks like a question of algebra. Look at these values and all. It looks like algebra, and many of you would not even want to touch it. But just read a little further, a little patiently. Square of the difference between x and y is this much, and the product of x and y is 15. The moment you think of 15, we try and convert all algebra into arithmetic only. What are the two numbers that come to your mind? These two numbers come to mind absolutely directly. The moment I look at 15, 3 into 5, 15 are the two numbers that come to mind. If I am talking about the product of two integers, generally they would be talking about integers only in such questions. Or what I can also think is minus 3 into minus 5, this will also give me 15. Something like that comes to mind straight away. It says the square of the difference between x and y is 4. So you are saying x minus y can be 2, or it can be minus 2 as well. Both are possible. Now x minus y can be either 2 or minus 2 according to this condition. So don't just think that it's positive. Now come back to this thing. If you look at this, x minus y raised to the power 7 is less than x minus y raised to the power 6. You take any value. For example, I take this a raised to the power 7 and a raised to the power 6. When is this going to happen? That the 7th power is less than the 6th power. This would only happen when this quantity a is negative. That's the only way that will be possible in this case. So it means what? It means that this is not 2, this x minus y has to be minus 2. So if x minus y is minus 2, if I let's say go with this set of values, so you are saying that x here should be 3 and y should be equal to 5 here, then this holds. Just put that in and check the answer. If you want, you can do it with this one as well. It will do the job for you, but even with the first one, that's absolutely fine. So x3, y5, what are the two values? This is given to you. What is the second value? X cube minus y cube. So how much is this? This is 3 cube, which is 27 minus 5 cube. So this is 27 minus 125, which gives you minus 98. बताओ इसके अंदर क्या था? There was absolutely nothing in this question. So you can clearly see that the answer would be quantity 1, that's A. quantity 1 greater than quantity 2, since minus 97 is bigger than minus 98 over here. So just a little bit of observation, and then it does the job for you very quickly. It was not algebra, you can just convert it into an identity and do it like that, but that was all, that all was not needed here. You could have done it like that. Look at this one, a question on probability. Just read it quickly, I'll explain it. The number of red balls in a box is 10 more than the number of white balls. A simple statement, probability of picking a white ball is 3 by 16. So let me just write it separately, it's 3 by 16. Probability of picking a red ball is 1 by 4. Let's make the denominator same here. So what is this? This is 4 by 16. Now white ball is 3 by 16, red ball is 4 by 16. What I'll suggest doing is, since you know that the number difference is 10, let's make the numerator difference 10. So when would it happen? If I make this 30 upon 160 and this is 40 upon 160, that's absolutely fine. Can you see what's happening here then? If the total number of balls in the bag is 160 and there are 30 white balls and 40 red balls, it definitely satisfies the criteria given to you over here. So we don't do anything, just manipulate the numbers and arrive at the final number. So what it tells you is that the total number of balls in the bag are 160 and total number of red balls are 40. We know this immediately. What do you want to, what do you have to do now? If says it 2 balls drawn at random, what is the probability of picking 2 red balls from the box? It's simple. There are 160 balls in the box. The probability of picking the first red ball, 40 upon 160. 1 red ball is picked, probability of picking the next red ball, how many red are there then? 39. 39 upon 159. So this is the value. This is 1 upon 4 here. How much is this then? Let's cancel by 3. So this becomes 13. This is 53. This gives you 13 upon 212. So you have to compare this quantity with 4 upon 53. So you know that quantity 1 would be smaller. Yeah. So that is your answer, option B. Then nothing in this question then. Let's move to the next one now. Okay, so this is the question. This is a complete set on profit loss discount. A simple set. The problem would be that if you look at the questions, there are lengthy read. I mean, it will take some time to read the questions. What is given is data about 4 online portals here: Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, eBay. And 4 different kinds of products: electronics, clothes, healthcare and furniture are given to there in the form of this line graph. And after that you have to just read the questions and answer them. There is nothing much to do here. It's just a little tedious in the sense that if you look at the questions, they are a little lengthy. You have to read them first and try and find out what it's doing. Let's do the first one. If the mark price for all the types of products is the same, so it says everything is the same. If it's the same, we take that as 100 by default. It makes our job easier because the discount percentage and all, actual numbers become a little easier to calculate here. Sum of the difference of the selling price of electronics between Flipkart and Amazon, and the sum of the selling price of clothes in Snapdeal and eBay is rupees this much. What is the cost price of electronics? Now what you do in this question is, we'll again use unitary method. What we'll do is, we'll take that same price as 100, same mark price as 100. What would happen in case of electronics? It says the difference of the selling price of electronics between Flipkart and Amazon. This is Amazon and this is Flipkart. Which is electronics? Electronics is this blue thing here. So this is 20% and this is 10% here. So if you look at this, what would be the two numbers here? If I'm talking about the difference in the selling price, so you can clearly see if the marked price is the same, I'm saying all the marked price is 100. So what would be the selling price here? 100 minus 20, that's 80. This is 100 minus 10, 90. So you clearly know that this first number, if I take all the marked prices, I've taken all the marked prices is 100. So this first value would be 10 here, because one would be 90, another would be 80 here. So this is the first value. And what is the second value that they want us to calculate? Sum of the selling prices of clothes in Snapdeal and eBay. Sum of the selling prices of clothes in Snapdeal. What is it? Sum of the selling prices, price of clothes in Snapdeal and eBay. Whereas clothes in Snapdeal and eBay, this is Snapdeal. What is clothes? You have to just be a little careful with finding these things. So this is clothes in Snapdeal. This is at a discount of 15%. If the mark price is 100, selling price would be 85. And clothes in eBay, if you look at this, this is eBay clothes, this orange bar, this is at a discount of 20%. So from 100, what would be the selling price? It will be 80. So these are the two selling prices, 85 and 80. So it is like that. Just look at this, sum of the selling price of clothes in Snapdeal. Clothes in Snapdeal selling price 85, clothes in eBay selling price 80, and this was the first difference that we calculated. So it's talking about this sum, this total sum. So it's tedious in the sense that you have to write these values, but it's not any tough calculations here. If you just sum this up, this would be if you realize this value would become 175. Now this is 175 when we took the mark price as 100 for everything, but what is this actual value? This is 17,500. So it means in place of 175, this is 17500. So what is the factor, since we are using unitary method here, with which we need to multiply everything, all the sales price, mark price, everything? There will be 100, because 175 into 100 is 17,500. So basically in this system that we have taken here, the multiplying factor becomes 100x. You multiply everything with 100 here. Now just calculate whatever is asked to calculate. What is the cost price of electronics if the markup was 25%? For if you talk about the cost price here, markup was 25%. So after 25% markup, what is the assumed marked price? We assumed mark price for everything as 100, but then the multiplying factor is 100x. So it's 100 into 100. There will be the mark price, which is 10,000. So this is the 10,000. This is the mark price for all the items then. So if it's asking you about the cost price of electronics, markup was 25%. So basically we can say cost price into 1.25 would be equal to this marked price. So what would be the cost price then? It's obvious that will be 8,000 rupees. So answer would be this, option A. Not much to do here, but when it comes to these kind of questions, you'll have to look at the graph carefully, be a little patient and work them out. Now my advice for you in all these questions is, they might look a little irritating, a little lengthy and all, but if you know the basics of arithmetic, they will not be too difficult to deal with. This is not a separate topic. If you ask me, this is arithmetic. Yes, at times a bit of calculations, but you'll realize in this paper I did not find too many questions which had lengthy calculations. Yes, the problem was getting into that graph and picking the right value. It's very easy to read 15% as 25%, to read 25% as 35%. So that might be the problem here, but otherwise it was not tough. Just a careful reading and then you can do everything over here. Let's move to the second one. Read this and try answering it then. Again, a lot of stuff to read here. Let's just read it quickly. Ratio of the cost price of electronics and clothes throughout all websites is 2:1. 2:1, the first number that comes to mind is this is electronics and clothes. So 200, 100. You can just take it like that, 2:1. And they are marked up by 25% and 50%. So a markup of 25%, 50% means 25% and 200, this becomes 250. So these are marked prices. This is cost price, this is marked price. And this would be a markup of 50%, so this becomes 150. So for electronics, mark price 250, cost price 150. This is for all the websites, all the portals that's given to you here. After that, it's given the difference between the selling price of electronics sold on eBay, electronics on eBay. Where is electronics on eBay? It is this. Fine. And clothes sold on Flipkart. Clothes on Flipkart would be this. They are both at 20%. Will be rupees 16,000. So electronics and clothes, because these 250 and 150 is over all the portals. So what would you do then? A 20% discount both on eBay and on Flipkart, the way it's mentioned. So what would be the selling price then? If you look at this, this would become 120 after a discount of 20%, and this would become 200. Now these are the two values whose difference is given to us. The difference is given to us as 16,000. The difference between the selling price of electronics, this is 200, and clothes sold on Flipkart, it is this value. So difference is 200 minus 120, that's 80. Now this 80 is given to you as 16,000. I mean, you can just look at this as 16,000 here. Again, unitary method, 80 to 16,000. How much is this? This is 200 times. So what is my multiplying factor? 200x. So if you have to arrive at the actual values, the multiplying factor would be 200. You just multiply everything with 200 to arrive at the actual values. Let's look at what the question says. What would be the selling price of electronics on eBay if this time it was marked up by 20% and sold at a discount of 10%? Markup by 20%, how do you do it directly? Markup of 20%, from 100 the thing goes to 120, if you have to think directly. discount of 10% from 120 to 108. So basically this operation boils down to this thing, up by 8%. For electronics, this was the number that which we started 200, but this is the multiplying factor. So 200 into 200 is the number, the actual cost price of electronics, and after that it's 8% above. So into 1.08. So this is nothing but 40,000 plus 8%. It's 40k into 1.08. Not too difficult. If you look at this, there is just one option that can satisfy. There will be option E, that's 43,200 here. I mean, it's a nothing calculation. 40,000 plus 4,000 minus 2%, or 40,000 plus 4,000 would be 10% minus 800. It's 43,200. But yes, use unitary method. It makes it easier. Lengthy read, not too difficult. The third one here in this set then. Now this time it says that the cost price of healthcare products is the same across websites. So let's take that number as 100. So cost price, let's take that as 100 across segments, across all these portals for healthcare products. Markup is 40%, 20%, 20%, 40%. So let me just write this markup here for these respective websites. The marked price, so it will be equal to 140, 120, 120 and 140. Isn't it? We can just write it quickly, going with this 40% Amazon. The good thing is that they are in order: Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, eBay. So this is the order that's given to you here: Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, eBay. 140, 120, 120 and 140. Now we know the discounts, so we can write the selling prices as well, because the sum of the selling prices is given to you here. So if we know the discounts, we can just look at this here for healthcare. What is the bar for healthcare? This gray one. So this is 25, this is 15, 10 and 10. So just do it quickly. 25% subtracted from 140, this is going to give you 105. Then this value would be 15% subtracted from 120, so this becomes 102. Fine. 10% from here, 108, and 10% gone from this 140, it's 126. So what is the sum of these four numbers here? If you add these four numbers, 26 plus 8 plus 2 and 36 plus 5, this becomes 441. Now this is 441, but what is the actual sum? 44,100. Again, the way we have been doing all these questions, this is this number 44,100. So what is the multiplying factor? Again 100x. So everything is to be multiplied with 100 to get to the actual values. Not too difficult. Now look at the condition. Lengthy read again. What is the difference between the selling price of furniture in Amazon and Flipkart? If the marked price of furniture in Amazon and Flipkart is equal to the selling price of healthcare products in Snapdeal. So what is the selling price of healthcare products in Snapdeal? This is this number, 108. 108, and obviously would be multiplied with 100 here. So if you look at this, marked price of furniture in Amazon and Flipkart would be 10800. This would be the actual number for the marked price of furniture in Amazon and Flipkart. It says what is the difference between the selling price? Where is Amazon, Flipkart, and what is he asking? Furniture. Amazon, Flipkart, furniture. Furniture is this yellow bar here. So if you look at this, these are my numbers. This 10% and this 15%. Amazon furniture 10% discount, and Flipkart furniture, yes, yellow bar in Flipkart, it's 15% discount. So what would be the difference between the selling price? Yeah, this is the common marked price for both Amazon and Flipkart for furniture. You can see that the discount here on one is 10% and the other would be 15%. So what would be the difference in the selling price? That would be equal to 5%. So I mean, if the base is the same, which is the marked price, the difference in the selling price in terms of percentage would be the same difference in the discount percentage. So it will be 5% of this number, just that. So 10% of this number is 1080, 5% would be 540 here, which is which option here? Option B. Fine. So I would not advise calculating it separately. If the concept is clear, it can just be done with this calculation. You realized all three questions we done here, we did not do much in terms of calculation, but reading and identifying and writing the data quickly is something that will take you some time here. Even if you if you look at these questions, some people could not do anything in this test last year, and the test was easier than this one. Even if you say, for example, I'm not saying that this deserves 20 minutes. If you pick this setup of 5 questions and you can do that in 15-20 minutes, everything right, and it can give you 10 marks. I don't know how many marks it carried, it was not reflected there, but yes, if it carries 10 marks, it would be there in your question paper. When you look at it as a question paper, in analysis it's not given. So if it can give you 10 solid marks, it's not a bad deal. You've got 45 minutes, you've got time on hand, and you can always pick up questions that you're 100% sure about. Do them carefully, quickly. It's not a test of speed, this mains, so you can just give it some time and work it out. Look at the next question of this set. Now this time it says the ratio of mark price of furniture, clothes and electronics across all websites is 5:3:4. So what we can do is, let's just think of mark prices as for furniture 500, for clothes 300 across websites, and for electronics let's take that as 400 across websites. It's like that. So that's done. What is the ratio of the difference of selling price of furniture in Snapdeal and eBay? Furniture in Snapdeal and eBay. Where is it? Snapdeal, eBay. Furniture. So this is furniture is the yellow one. So these are the two numbers that we have to look at. So what would be the difference in the selling price? Here the discount is 20%, here the discount is 25%. Mark price is the same, which is 500. So what would be the selling price? In this case, the selling price would be 80% of the mark price. Here it will be 75% of the mark price. You don't need to think all that. What you know is that this value that I'm talking about would straight away be 5% of 500. Now let's come to denominator here. Difference of the selling price of clothes in Amazon. Selling price of clothes in Amazon. Clothes is at 300. Clothes Amazon, where is it? This is this discount, 15%. So 15% discount means selling price would be 85% of 300. This is one value. And if you look at this, what is the second value? Electronics in Snapdeal. Where is electronics? Mark prices 400 for all. Electronics in Snapdeal. This is Snapdeal. Where is electronics here? This blue bar, it is this. So the discount is 10%. So mark price is 400, 10% discount, it's 90% of 400. So this is the two set of values here. Now you can see that this value is smaller, but difference means it can be any value. You have to take the modulus of this value basically. So you look at this, this value would be 255, yeah, 255, and this is 360. So what is this? This is 105 basically. So 25 upon 105. 25 upon 105, you are talking about which option here? This is option B, 5:21. Again, not too many calculations, but you have to look for these numbers from here in this chart. Don't use x and y here, that's not really required. Ratios, you can easily use these values. So in all these questions you must have liked, we just assumed some value and worked on it after that. Look at the last question of this set now. Now again, too many numbers given over here. Let's just read it. Mark price of electronics is 20% higher than the mark price of furniture in Amazon. So what we can do is, let's take this value, mark price of furniture in Amazon as 100x. So what would be the mark price of electronics? That would be equal to 120x here. And it also says mark price of clothes is 20% lesser than the mark price of healthcare products in eBay. So the mark price of healthcare products in eBay, let's take this value as 100y, and then mark price of clothes in eBay would be 20% less. So this value would be then 80y. So these are the values that we have to assume like that. Now if the sum of the selling prices of furniture in Amazon and healthcare in eBay, Amazon furniture, where is it? Furniture Amazon would be this 10% discount, and healthcare in eBay, healthcare eBay, where is healthcare eBay? This is healthcare eBay, again 10% discount. Sum of the selling prices is this much. So if you go with this thing, 10% discount means 10% discount on 100x and 10% discount on 100y. So basically you are saying 90x plus 90y is 19800. Fine. So you can just simplify it quickly. 90x plus 90y is equal to 1900, means x plus y can be written as how much? 220. Yeah. So this is the number for you. So this takes care of this first situation. The second one, the difference of the selling price of electronics in Amazon. Electronics in Amazon, mark price is 120x, and Amazon electronics, what is the discount? It's 20%. So what would be the selling price here? of Amazon Electronics 120x, you subtract 20% from it, so it becomes 96x. And selling price of clothes in eBay, selling price of clothes in eBay. So if you look at this, clothes in eBay is 80y, that's mark price. So whereas eBay clothes, it's eBay clothes, it's this discount of this is the discount, this value here, which is again 20%. So 20% of 80y it's subtracted from this. So what would be left? Selling price will be 64y. 64y, yes, yeah. So it will be 64y here. So what it says is that this difference is 5120. So 96x minus 64y would give you 5120 here. So this is the second equation. Again, you can just write it like this: 3x minus 2y is equal to 160. So this is your first one, this is your second one. Double this, add this here, so you'll get 5x as how much? 600, which implies that x would be equal to 120. If x is 120, from this one, what would be the value of y? Y would be 100. What do you need to calculate? What is the ratio of mark price of furniture in Amazon to mark price of healthcare products in eBay basically? So x upon y is basically what it's asking, or 100x upon 100y, whatever way you want to put it. This is what he's asking. This is nothing, so that's x upon y, which would be 120 upon 100, and the answer would be option C, that is 6:5. Yeah, that is your answer. Again, some work required, a lengthy read, so it might just test your patience, but it can be done finally if you persist with it, so not take much time. Here I am showing you the next question. This is the next one. I could take a bigger screenshot because it was a smaller question. It's a set of 2 questions based on time, speed, distance. Time, speed, distance is one favorite area from where they can give you group questions, but it's a smaller set. It just had 2 questions. Now the situation given to you here is very simple. These are about 2 people who travel from 2 places like that, from Bangalore to Hyderabad. So this guy Abhishek travels from Bangalore to Hyderabad, and the other guy Satish travels from Hyderabad to Bangalore. It's like that. The speeds are also given. The speed here is 50. The speed here is 30. They cross each other after 9 hours. That's known to you somewhere on the way. It says Abhishek travels up to Hyderabad and returns to Bangalore after a stay of 36 minutes. Satish travels up to Bangalore and returns to Hyderabad after a stay of 1 hour. After how much time will they meet for the second time? Now, if the concepts of time, speed, distance are clear to you, this will not take time. Otherwise, this can be a little tedious working out everything. Whenever we talk about to and fro motion and the speeds are like that, the second meeting would happen like this. If I have to just draw it separately for you, if this is the time, this is the track. One guy starts from here, the other guy starts from here. Let's say they meet somewhere here. Now, they combined have covered one length of the track. What would happen then? This guy would reach here, would come back like that. This guy starts from here, would come back and meet somewhere like that. So when they meet for the second time, how many times the track has been covered combined? So for the first meeting, just 1 times. For the second meeting, 3 times. So time taken for the second meeting generally is 3 times. But the problem here is that one guy stayed for 36 minutes, another guy stayed back for 1 hour. Now, how do you think? We'll just manipulate the numbers here. Had they not stayed at all, after how many times would the meeting have happened from the start? For the first meeting, 9 hours. So 9 hours into 3, 27 hours. This is for the case where I'm assuming they did not stay back for any time, but they stayed back. This guy stayed for 36 minutes. So had both of them stayed back for 36 minutes, after how many minutes from the start of the meeting happened? The second meeting, while returning, 27 hours plus 36 minutes. But no, this is not the case. The second guy, Satish, stayed back for 1 hour. So I'll compare the time for which Abhishek stayed back and Satish stayed back. Can I say Satish stayed back for 24 more minutes? This is what happened. So you can also say that this guy Satish is late by 24 minutes. So had he not been late, the meeting time would have been 27 hours plus 36 minutes. But since he is late by 24 minutes, this journey which he could do in 24 minutes now would be done by both the people. What is the ratio of their speeds? A travels at a speed of 5 and S travels at a speed of 3. When they travel combined, A plus S, towards each other, what's the speed at which they travel? 5 plus 3, that's 8. So what are you comparing then? This speed of S Satish with the combined speed 3:8. So this guy is late by 24 minutes, Satish, you can just think like that. So when they both cover this up for this deficiency of 24 minutes, they would do it at a faster pace. So this 24 minutes can be covered up in 24 into 3 by 8. Where does this 3 come from? Here. 8 from here. So this is 9 minutes. So in 9 minutes they can do that, cover that up, deficiency of 24 minutes. So what is added further to it? This 9 minutes. So 27 hours plus 36 minutes plus 9 minutes, the answer becomes 27 hours 45 minutes. It's concept only, just concept. There is nothing to calculate. If you understand how it works, you can just do it mentally like that. There is absolutely nothing in this question. If you do not understand it, proportions and all, then it's a tough question for you. You will need to calculate the speed and do likewise. But for me, I'll just say, just think like that. First meeting 9 hours. I mean, if you have to just look at like that. First meeting 9 hours. Third meeting 27 hours. This guy is late by 36 minutes. So 27 hours plus 36 minutes. Fine. But both are not late by 36. This is late by another 24 minutes. This 24 minutes, when combined, would be compensated by both of them together. When both of them together cover for this deficiency of 24 minutes, they will just take 9 minutes because the speed increases. They are walking towards each other or running toward whatever, traveling towards each other. So this 24 minutes would now be covered in 9 minutes. So another 9 minutes added to it. So it means what? 27 hours 45 minutes. This becomes your answer here. It's a very good question for conceptual understanding. Those of you who understand proportions should get it right extremely quickly. There is nothing in it. Likewise, there was a second question in this, again based absolutely on concept. The first part, the situation that's given to here, is absolutely similar. Now what has happened is, if I just draw it again like this here, this is Bangalore, this is Hyderabad. This time both of them are starting from Bangalore. Yeah, it's like that. And speed of Abhishek is 5 and speed of Satish is 3. It's like that. With double the speeds mentioned. So basically it doesn't matter here. If they double the speeds, the ratio would still remain the same. So if Abhishek's speed is 5, Satish's speed is 3, it would still remain the same. It doesn't make a difference to us unless and until we are working on the actual numbers. But we are just working on ratios because they work for us. Abhishek returns towards Bengaluru immediately after reaching. So who would reach this place, Hyderabad, first? Abhishek would reach first, and he travels like that. He goes like this, comes back, and right. So what it's saying is that this is the trajectory that Abhishek follows. From Bangalore he starts, reaches Hyderabad, comes back. Fine. On the way he meets Satish like that, and this is the trajectory of Satish. Now what is the ratio of their speeds? 5:3, even after doubling the speeds. So you just think of dividing this track into 4 imaginary parts like that. So how many parts would Abhishek do? If you look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he turns back, does the 5th part. So this is the total distance covered by Abhishek in the same time in which Satish would do just 3 parts of the track, 1, 2 and 3. So where would Satish be? This is their meeting point, and you can look at this. So this is, if you talk about Abhishek, this is 4 and this is 1, 5 units, and for Satish it's 3. So where would they meet? This is the exact point where they are going to meet. We are not dealt with any actual numbers, just proportions here. Now what is this segment? It says at what distance from Hyderabad would they meet. This is 1/4 of the track. The total track or the total length of this thing is, we can calculate it, no? The total speed is 50, 30, 80 into 9. So the total length is 720 kilometers. Because 50, 30, 80, 80 into 9, 720 kilometers. So from this 720 kilometers, just one segment of the track, that is 1/4. So it would be how much? It would be 180. Yeah, that which becomes option D. This is your answer for this, 180 kilometers. Now this might I mean, if you look at this, for those of you who have not done time speed distance using proportionality, it might look like it's a difficult question, but no, it's very doable provided you understand how to use proportionality in time speed distance, and it works very, very beautifully. I mean, it's such a vast topic, time speed distance, that if you understand proportionality here, your job becomes much easier in so many topics. So do it like that, try doing it like that. If you calculate speed and all, it becomes a little tedious here. Let's move forward to the next one then. Now this is data sufficiency. Data sufficiency is one of the things that I would definitely want you to attempt, because this is actually a part of quantitative aptitude if it happens to appear in this section, in which you actually don't need to calculate anything most of the times, and if your concepts are in place, you will be able to answer the question. What is the rate of interest, for example? Here this question says, what you will do in these questions wherein there are 3 statements given rather than those 2 conventional ones followed by 5 stereotype options. You will look at the options first. Statement 1, statement 2 alone, statement 3 alone, 1 and 2 together, and statement 1 alone. So it tells us that 1 is the most important statement. Let's look at 1 first. I will not read anything before that. Sum P becomes double in 4 years when invested at a certain rate of interest per annum. Simple interest. It's a simple one. 4 years it becomes double. You're talking about 25% rate of interest. We don't need to calculate it, but it's so simple. 4 years 100% increase. So every year 25%. So with this statement 1, you can definitely answer the question. If you can answer the question with this, you can say that this option B, option C, option D, everything is ruled out, and either the answer would be option A or option E. What is option E? It says 1 alone or 3 alone. So we don't need to check for 2. I will not check for 2. I don't know what it is, but I will not need to check for 2 because the answer has to be one of the 3 options. What is statement 3 then? Sum Q becomes quadruple, that's 4 times when invested in compound interest for 2 years at a certain rate of interest. 2 years, it says it becomes 4 times. So how would it be like? 1 year, it becomes double. Another year it becomes 4 times, like that. So that's 100% rate of interest, but that's not really required. What you know is that from this statement you can obviously answer this. So for 25% for 1, 100% for this, because it's very simple. Otherwise you would not have calculated it, but we know that it can be calculated. So from 1 and 3 you can calculate. The answer becomes option C, option E. It's an absolute sitter. Everybody should be able to answer it. With some basic knowledge you can do that. The only thing is look at the options first and then try and find out which is the option from which, or which is the statement from which you start checking. So work on it accordingly. Look at the next one. Now in this question, it's about 3 ladies, Divya, Riya and Kavya. They do some business together and is asking the profit share of Riya, the second lady here. Look at the options. Again, option 1 we can start with, statement 1 we can start with. It appears in option A, B, C. One dekhte hain. Let's start with 1. Riya and Kavya start the business with an initial capital of this much, time period this much and this much. So Riya and Kavya, you can calculate the effective investments, but would it be sufficient to find out the profit share of Riya? No, it's not sufficient. Very simple. You know that because you do not know anything about Divya. So we'll try clubbing something. Then if you look at the options again, we can probably try 1 and 2 together because it appears here, it appears here. Let's look at 2 as well. Divya invested this much for this much time. Now you've got all the investments of all 3 and all the time periods as well, the money as well as the time period, and you also know the profit that Divya gets. So what you will get from this is, will not calculate anything. We know the effective investments of the 3 ladies, Divya, Riya and Kavya, and we also know the profit of one of them. So if you can calculate this profit, because you will get some kind of a ratio with this, you will get x is to y is to z with these numbers, this and this. If you combine all this, you will get the ratio in which the profit should be shared. So if you know the amount of profit that one of them has got, you can calculate it for all 3. So 1 and 2 together would definitely do the job for you. So now the answer option has to be either C or A. Will not look at anything else. What is A? A is 1 and 3 together. So I will directly look at combining 1 and 3. What is 3? Let's read 3. Divya invests money for 1 year. Okay, so you have got now the time period for Divya as well. She invests 20% more than Kavya. So you again got the number for Divya. So you got the amount for Divya, the time period for Divya, and the total profit earned at the end of the year is this much of the total investment. Very good. So you'll again get a ratio like this x, y, z, because you've got all the numbers with which you can calculate the ratio in which the profit is to be shared, and it also gives you the amount of the total profit, whatever this is, but you know the amount because it is 2/3 of the total investment. So if you can actually calculate you have the total investment with you, 2/3 you can calculate. So you get the ratio in which the profit needs to be shared and also the total profit. So you can obviously do that. So using 1 and 2 together and using 1 and 3 together, both the ways you can calculate the answer. So the answer option here would be option A. This is the question that you just read and you answer and you don't do anything. That is the best part of data sufficiency. So don't leave it thinking it's 3 statements and all, it's generally simple. Look at the next one. This again I'll say is an easy one. It says you have to calculate the ratio of soda to wine in a resultant mixture. 3 vessels, they are emptied into a single large container. That's the situation given. It's a typical situation in mixture and solution kind of questions. The statements are very small. So these kind of questions are good because they can be read very quickly. Just a cursory look, you know that you cannot calculate something like that unless you know the component of the 3 individually. So 1 and 3, just a look, you know it's not going to result in anything, or you can, if you want, you can just look at the options, but they are so small, the statements, just a cursory look, you'll get an idea here. So only 3 is sufficient? No, because you do not know in which ratio it needs to be mixed, I mean in which ratio it's mixed. 2 and 3 are together sufficient? No, because here again you will need these numbers that are given here, and you will also need in what ratio is this mixed, what are the size of the 3 small containers. So it's not given here. 2 and 3 not sufficient, 1 and 2 together obviously not sufficient because you do not have these numbers. This would be crucial for anything like that. 1 sufficient, not sufficient, has to be none of the above. When can you actually get the answer? That's not really required for this question, but when you have got this, and if you combine it with statement 1, 3 small vessels, each of 100 liters capacity. So you are saying these are the individual ratios, and then the capacities are equal. Then you mix them, you can calculate it. But would we calculate? No, we would not calculate. We just know that this is not sufficient. Just a look and we know it's not sufficient. All the data sufficiency questions that we have done till now here, and this are all very simple. Should not, anything here should not take more than a minute. Nothing to calculate. Look at the next one. Now again it's a bit of mensuration. It says what is the cost of fencing a rectangular field. Fencing means you have to talk about the you have to calculate the perimeter of this rectangular field. Fencing means चारों तरफ उसके boundary बनाना. Now look at this. We can start with any option. Statement we can start with 1. 1 appears here. Difference of adjacent sides of the rectangular plot is 15 meters. So that's the difference between length and width. This is given to you, that is 15. And the cost of flooring at the rate of flooring would be it has to deal with the area at the rate of this much is this much. So it's simple. If you divide this number by this number, you would get the area. You got the area without even reading further. You know that you have got the length and width. If I tell you that the difference is 15 and you got the area, because you can get the area here, you can calculate the length and width both. So you can calculate everything here. Numerical value of cost of rate of cost of flooring per meter square is same as numerical value of rate of cost of fencing. So we have got the cost of fencing, we have got length, we have got width, we have got perimeter. We can calculate everything. So this statement alone is sufficient. Look at the options now. If you look at this, 1 alone is sufficient. Which option talks about that? This option talks about that, and this is the only option that talks about that. So if this is the only option that talks about that, if the question is right, 2 and 3 together would satisfy, but would I even have a look at it? No, I'll not. I mean, why do I waste time here? Either one only. So this is there in this only one option. There is no other option that talks about this one only. So answer has to be option D. 2 and 3 together, if you want, you can have a look. I would advise not doing that. If you are 100% sure that statement 1 is enough, answer has to be option D over here in this, and that does the job for you. So just be a little smart and look at the options and then deal with it accordingly. Just be very careful with one thing. None are sufficient is different from none of the above. So had the option been not none of sufficient but none of the above, it is different. We'll need to check that in that case. None are sufficient, it says no statement can give you the answer. We know that it cannot be the answer here because we already know that statement 1 gives you answer. None of the above means you're saying none of the above options is right. So yes, in that case it's possible that 1 only is the answer. But here in this case that's not possible because of the way options are given. So if you look at this, just by reading this much, you get to know your answers straight away. So that's the beauty of data sufficiency. Look at the last one. There were just 5 questions in this. Speed distance, it says what is the speed of train P? Look at the options. Again, we can probably check with statement 1 only. It appears in a few statements, few options. Train P crosses a platform of length this much, and train Q running at this much speed in this much and this much time. Obviously this is not sufficient, will not make any equation, not do anything, because there are too many things missing over here. Length of train Q, that's missing, length of train P, that's missing, so we cannot do anything about it. So again look at options. So which statement do we check now? It says we can combine 1 and 3. We should go to option 3 because this is an option, this is an option. Let's see. When you look at option 3 here, it has given you some data. Train Q crosses a platform of this much length and train P having length. Now I'm reading this, it should click to me if I get this length, train P having length 240 meters. So what was missing here? If I know that this train P crosses a platform of length this much in 10.4 seconds. So in 10.4 seconds it crosses a platform, and from here I get length of train P. It should do the job for me. I mean, it means that 280 plus 240, which is 520. This 520 meters is covered by this train in 10.4 seconds. So if you do this, you get the speed of this train. Statement 3 in itself is not sufficient. 1 and 3 should exist in the answer options here. So in how many options is 1 and 3 there? It's not there in this, because it's talking about using all three. All three is different from using just 1 and 3. It's not in this, not in this. So just one option, this 1 and 3 is there. So 1 and 3 doing the job for me just in one option. That option has to be the answer. So the answer has to be option D. I will not break my head over thinking about the rest of the situation. So just do it a little smartly over here. Going to the next question now. Okay, data sufficiency is one very scoring area. Now this is scoring both in terms of positive scoring and negative scoring. Some people score a lot of negative marks in this, but when dealt with a little smartly, and you should not be afraid of these 3 statement kind of questions. They are easier if you can manipulate the options. If you can just look through them a little quickly, at times you will not be able to calculate, would not be required to calculate anything. So just be a little careful with data sufficiency, and it can give you quite a few positive marks in very, very little time. You are actually not required to calculate anything in data sufficiency, especially in quantitative aptitude. So it is one scoring area. This is the next question. Read it. Let's discuss that. Again, a small question on mensuration, an easy one. Trapezium, all of you understand what this is. One parallel side of a trapezium is equal to the radius of a circle, and height between parallel sides of trapezium is equal to the diagonal of a rectangle. Simple situation. One parallel side is given to you. It says you have to calculate the area of trapezium, right? So we have to get both the sides, both the parallel sides, and the distance between them. How do you calculate this? Area of circle is this much. So 22 by 7 r square would be equal to 616. You can solve this. You solve this, you get the value of radius from here. It will be 14 here. So it should not be too much of an issue here. Perimeter of rectangle is this much. So what is this radius 14 here? This is the other side. So one side would be 8, the other side would be 14. So you got both the sides now. Look at this perimeter then. This is length and width in the ratio 4:3. If the actual lengths are 4 and 3, what is the perimeter? 4 plus 3 into 2, that is 14. But it's not 14, it's 28. It means what? That the actual lengths are double of it. Again unitary only. 14 is the perimeter when the sides are 4 and 3. But perimeter is 28. It means what? That the sides are not 4 and 3. The sides are 8 and 6. If they are the two sides 8 and 6, what would be the diagonal? 8 square plus 6 square under root. This is root 100, which is 10. So this is the distance. 10 is the distance between the parallel sides of the trapezium. So what is the area then? Half into the sum of two parallel sides, the sum of the lengths of two parallel sides. How much is that? 8 plus 14 into the distance between them, that is 10. So you get this easily. This is 22, 11, it becomes 110, which is option B. Nothing much to calculate. If you know the basic formula for this, it can be done. That's why I keep saying that geometry mensuration, do at least the basic ones. If the question is very easy, you can handle it very quickly. It's one of the easy ones here in this. I mean, when we are doing this exercise, just keep counting the number of questions that you could have done, but you did not do because you did not look at them, or you made a silly mistake, or you just did not get any time to come to that question. All these things. Let's move to the next one. Now this is a set based on time and work. It's a set of 5 questions, and I will say that it's a tough one. It's a tough one in the sense that I don't think many people would have done that in the exam. It actually has got a lot of data here. We will still do it because we should learn doing certain things. So I'll show the complete solution of this set to you. During exam, I don't know how many of you would have done it. It's a tough question, but just for understanding, let's do it here. We'll need to make a table here, and then it becomes easier for you. Let's just read it first. It shows you a pie chart here, which shows the efficiencies of workers B, C, D as a percentage of efficiency of worker A. So that's the simple part of it. This pie chart here shows you the relative efficiencies of A, B, C, D, E. here this is the legend given here, B is blue, C is orange, and likewise with respect to efficiency of A. So if efficiency of A is 100, efficiency of B would be just 40. It works like this. Good. Okay. The line graph shows the number of days required by A dash to complete 4 different jobs. Now there are not 5 people, there are 10 people, A dash, B dash, like that. And this line graph here shows you the number of days that they complete to the number of days they take to complete these 4 jobs. So you can see that again, if you talk about A dash, their efficiency for if you look at this job is done by this blue, that's A first, and then orange takes a little more time. So A is more efficient here. For this job N, they are equally efficient. For this job O, if you realize this A dash is more efficient. So it's changing here for job M and OP for A and A dash. But it gives you a way that you can compare the efficiencies of A dash for M and OP, these 4 jobs. If you read further, it says the table shows the efficiencies of B dash, C dash, D dash. This is the table here. So for B, C, D, E, the ratio of efficiency is given. If B is 4, B dash would be 5. If D is 1, D dash would be 4. So it's given for the rest 4 guys, B, C, D, E. And an important statement is individual efficiencies may change, but the ratio of efficiencies of workers remain the same in all the 4 jobs. That's okay. So it says that this ratio would be valid for all the jobs, across all jobs, but not for A dash. This is the confusing part in this question. If you look at this, if the efficiency of B is 4 here, B dash would be 5. It will be true for all the jobs. But if you look at A dash, it's not true for A dash. Here, if you look at this, for job M, A is more efficient. For job O, A dash is more efficient. So this is how this question is a little different. I've generally not seen a question of this type in which they get into a level like this. But yes, the challenging part would be to just make a table, and after that it becomes simple. In exam situation, I really do not expect you to do a question like that, but still understand this. What I'll want you to do is, if something like this comes, this is the way to proceed. You'll make a table like this. What does this table talk about? This is the efficiencies of all the 5 people that we'll write here, and the quantum of work when it comes to M and OP, all these 4 jobs. So by looking at this graph, let's just try filling it for job M for A dash. These are the 2 numbers. A dash takes 12 days and A takes 10 days. So what would be the ratio of efficiencies of A dash? If you talk about this, it will be the reverse ratio. So it will be 12, 10, or you can say this is 6 and 5. So for A, if the efficiency is 6, for A dash the efficiency would be 5 units. It would be the reverse ratio of the time period that they take. Or what you can do is, if you have to just calculate it in terms of LCM and all, if the total work is 60 units, 12, 10, calculating the LCM, it's 60 units. So 60 divided by 10, it's 6 units of work for A daily, and for A dash it will be 5 units of work. So this is what we know. Now with this, the work is 60 and these efficiencies are 6 and 5. We can write that. But what I'll suggest is, since you have to calculate all this, 6 is too small a number for A. This is a very small number, and 40% of 6, 20% of 6, 15% of 6, they would all give you numbers in decimals. It's not always a good idea to do that. So what we can do is, we can take the efficiency of A as 60 and A dash as 50. So I'm just writing it here. This is 60 for A and 50 for A dash. In that case, what would the work become? This is 60 units here. The work would be 600 units. So what I have taken is this. You can see here it's consistent with the data given. Job M 600 units, A does 60 units daily, so 10 days A would take. 60 by 50, 600 by 50, it's 12 days, that's A dash going to take. So this is what I've written. The reason is that when you go to these numbers, they'll be easier to calculate doing like that. So if you have to just write them, these numbers, you can just write very quickly all these numbers. 40% of 60, that's 24, you can write it quickly. So this becomes the efficiency of B. 20%, it's 12. This is 25% of 60, that's 15. This is for D, and for E it's 15%, that's 9. So we can just write the efficiencies of all of them very quickly. We have just written them for B, C, D, E, and not for B dash, C dash, D dash and E dash here. But even this can be done quickly. What is the ratio? 4 is to 5, so this becomes 30. 1 is to 5, so this becomes, if you look at this, this becomes 60. And this is 1 is to 4, so 15 into 4, this is 60. And this is 3 is to 10, so this becomes 30. So these are the efficiencies of all 10 of them for job M. Now we don't have to care about these rows now. The reason is that their efficiencies would remain the same for N, O, P, all the jobs, because they would not change. The only row which actually is creating a trouble for you is this row because of this line graph here. They would be consistent. What we'll do is that we'll just keep changing the extent of the job that needs to be done. I'll just explain that. But for B, B dash, C, C dash, all these rows are simple ones to deal with. They'll not create any kind of problem for you. Let's just first deal with the remaining jobs. For job N, if you look at this part, they both do it in 15 days. Now if we take this 60 as the base on which we are working, so if we take that as 60, let's say I'm saying efficiency of job of A for job N is 60. It remains the same. Let's change the work here. So 60 is the efficiency. How many days does A take to do it? 15 days. So what would be the job then? Job would be 60 units he does daily for 15 days. So that's 900 here. Likewise we can do it. Look at this here. This is how many days? 20 days. 20 days and what is the number of units that it does daily? 60 units. So 60 into 20, that will be 1200. And last job, how much time does it take? This is the number. This is how much? 18. So 18 into 60. So this would be 1080. So these are the numbers here. I have kept the efficiency of A as same. What you will need to do still would be to find the efficiency of A dash. Now for A dash here, since it's the same, it remains 60 only. But for O, it will change. O, if you look at this, how much time does this guy take? For doing these 1200 units, A dash just takes 18 days. So 18 days and 1200 units of work. So 1200 divided by 18, which would be 200 by 3. This is we tried, but this is still not an integer. Let's not worry about it. It's just one of the numbers. And let's go back to this last one, 1080, the job, and how much time does this guy A dash take? 20 days. So 1080 divided by 20. I'm just making this complete table for you. This might not be required. The complete thing might not be required for answering the questions. It will not take much time, 3, 4, 5 minutes doing that. And after that, the questions become much easier. So 1080 divided by this 20 here. So that would be 108 divided by 2. There will be 54. So these are the numbers here. Now what we have done is that we have changed these numbers. So job M 600, job N 900, 1200, job P 1080. You can just write it anyway. So but since dealing with integers is easy, this is what we can do with these numbers. So now these numbers here are consistent with everything here. Everything means that if you look at this line graph is okay. Just check this row A dash, just check these quantum of works, this is fine. This is consistent with this one, this is consistent with this one. There is absolutely no problem here. For these values, in case you are wondering, it will be the same. 2430, this would be 2430, because it does not talk about any such graph for BCDE. 2430. It will be like that here. And likewise, it will be the same here, same here, same here. So this is the table that you will need, in which you might have to give some time, and after that you can do the questions quickly. After making this, you don't need to look at this data or this data or this data or this table. Nothing is required. We can straight away go to the question. So spend some time understanding this table at a later stage if you've not found it slightly new or something similar. But this is the one with which you can answer all the questions. I'm showing you the questions now in this, and I'm not showing you all these graphs and all. I'm just showing you this final table, the one that we have just made. This is the table and this is your question. Read it. Let's discuss it. It says job M, A works for 2 days. So the numbers are given here. 2 days, 5 days. This is 10 days. That's how it's given. This is 8 days. And it says this is X days here. Likewise for job N, it's given for this all these guys 3, 5, 5 and 6. So it's like that. 3, 5, 5 and 6. And this guy then does for Y days. You have to calculate the value of X is to Y. Not too difficult, just do this. 2 into 60, 120, 120, 10 into 12, 120, 15 into 8, 120. So 120 units are left for this guy. Efficiency is 9. So what is the value of X here? 120 divided by 9. So this is the number of days for which this guy will need to work. E will need to work. So X becomes 120 by 9. Likewise do it here. This is 3 into 60, 180, 5 into 24, it's 120, 300 हो गया, 360 plus 90. So this is 450 units. 3 into 60, this much, this and this. 480 units and the total 450 units, and the total job is 900. So 900 minus 450 would be 450 left. So what would be the value of y? 450 divided by 9. So which is nothing but 50. So the value of this is 120 by 9, which is what, 40 by 3. X and y is 50. So what is the ratio? This is 40 by 3 by 50 here. This cancels. This becomes 4 upon 15. This is option B. So you realized after we made this is not a tough question. Otherwise, dealing with fractions and all, it becomes too tough. Here, after this table, it's not a difficult one. Let's look at the second one. Again, lots of data, but not too difficult after the table. The difference between the number of days in which job O, this is job O, gets completed is X days, when in one case A and D work together. So A and D would be 60 plus 15, so that's 75 units per day. So number of days would be 1200 divided by 75. So 1200 divided by 75 is basically 16, right? And here B and C work together. B and C would be 24 and 12, with C working at double its capacity. So 12 into 2, 24. 24 plus 24 is 48. So total units that they do, B and double of C would be 48 daily. So 1200 divided by 48. So this is the time that they would take when C is working at double its capacity. So 1200 by 48 would be 25. Yeah, 48 into 100 is 4800, 1200 is 1/4 of that. So this is 25. So what is the difference between 25 and 16? The difference, this is 9. So here this x, the value of x becomes 9 here. You know this, not much time again. For job P, B works for 5 days, this guy works for 5 days, and D works for 6 days, this is 6 days, E works for 10 days, right? It's like that. A works for y days to complete the job. So how much is this? This is 120, this is 90, and this is 90. So 120 plus 90 plus 90, it's 300 units done. What is the total job? 1080. So how much is left? 780 is left. So 780 left, and who does it? A does it. So A's efficiency 60. 780 by 60, how many days? 13 days. So here this x value is 9, and what is this value? This value is y. It says y minus x whole square. So 13 minus 9 whole square, that is 4 whole square, 4 square. Basically that's option B, that is 16. After this table, it's doable. Look at this third one. Now again a condition given here, they have created a new job, job Q. The efficiency of B dash is equal to the sum of efficiencies of E dash for jobs M and OP. So if you look at this M and OP, what is it? This is 30, because the way we have created this table, it's all equal. But the good part here is, if you look at the efficiency of E dash, it's 30. The efficiency of B dash is 30 here. What we have changed is these the quantity of work. So the table is designed like that. So when it says the quantity, the efficiency of B dash is equal to sum of efficiencies of this much for these jobs, and so basically they are replacing, they are exchanging the efficiencies here. It makes no difference. What we know is that even after the change here, this is exactly identical. Look at this 30, this 30, 30, 30, and they're exactly identical here. So it means what we know is that for these jobs M and OP, for these jobs B dash and E dash are equally identical. So you do whatever with the efficiencies, they would not change. Question is, in how many days will they complete job Q? If this is not is, this is if B dash E dash work on alternate days, with E dash destroying the work instead of completing it. You know that B dash and E dash are equally competent here, and they do equal work. So one day B dash, whatever he does, E dash destroys it. So it's zero work that happens in every 2 days. So the work would never get completed. They compensate for each other's works. Nothing is going to happen over here. The important part for you here to realize is that had it been for B dash and C dash, you could not have done it like that. Fine, because it's not same. But B dash, E dash, it's exactly similar, and there is nothing in it. You look at the table and simply answer it like that. That they would, E dash would keep destroying the work of B dash, and nothing would happen. Look at the next one. Again a situation given, A dash, E dash work together on job M for 5 days. This is job M, 600 units, This is 50 A dash and E dash is 30. So 50 plus 3, 80. They work for 5 days. 80 into 5, 400. So out of this 600, 400 gone. How much is left? 200. It says C dash D dash work together for X days to complete the job. C dash D dash is 60 plus 60, 120. So how much time would they take? 200 upon 120. So this is the time taken by these two people to complete the job. So X would be equal to 5 upon 3. This is the value of X. Right. Let's come to the second step. C dash D dash work together on job P. This is job P. C dash D dash is C dash D dash 60 plus 60, 120. And they do it for 3 days. So 120 into 3, 360 units they do. So subtract 360 from this value. How much is left then? 360 subtracted from 1080, it becomes 720. So 720 is left. Who does it then? B dash E dash work together for 5 days. B dash 30, E dash 30. 30 plus 30, 60 daily. So 720 is to be done and they do 60 daily. So how much time? 720 by 60, that is 12 days. So 12 is this y. So this is y. What is he asking? What is the value of 3x is to y? So x is 5 upon 3. So what is 3x? 3x would be 5. So 5 upon 12. What is the option? This is option A. 5 is to 12. It becomes your answer here. Not too difficult after this. And this is the last one. Look at this as well. The difference between the sum of days taken by A and C together to complete job N, A and C, 60 plus 12. So how much time? 900 upon 72. Just keep writing like that. Difference between this, difference between sum. So first we have to take the sum. This plus A and D together to complete job O. Job O, A and D. A, D. So this is 60 plus 15, 75. Job is 1200. So 1200 upon 75. So this sum first. This is the first thing. And then it's saying the difference. And किससे difference निकालना है? If you sum of days taken by A dash C dash to complete job N. A dash C dash. So 60 plus 60, that's 120. And job N is 900 upon 120, right? And the last one is A dash D dash to complete job O, 1200 and this is A dash D dash. So this much plus this, so 200 by 3 plus 60. So and the job is 1200. So this is equal to how much? 1200 divided by 200 by 3 plus 60. So this is the complete thing. We can just write it as, if I have to just reduce it further here, we can just write it as 3600 by 380. Simplify it, then what would it become? 25 by 2 plus 16 minus this is how much? This would be 15 by 2 and this value would be, if you simplify it, 180 by 19, right? Some calculation here in this, options that have 19 in them, we cannot do anything, which becomes what? 21 minus 180 by 19, isn't it? So this is the value that you get. So you're talking about 21 into 19, which is 399. Yes, yeah. So 399 minus 180. So that's 219 upon 19. That's option D. This is 219 upon 19. So some calculation in this again, but yes, this was a set that required you to do some work. If you ask me, this was the toughest set. I mean, this is the set that required you to do some work, but the major work that was involved was till this making of the table. So if you can do this first, some people advise not to make the complete table without looking at the question. So when I looked at the questions, I realized that you'll need almost all these values. So you can just write them down quickly. But yes, I'll agree that this is a tough set. In fact, all the sets here in this particular test are a little difficult, I'll say, because they require you to read a lot. you read a lot, you understand, have some patience, then you can do it. So, I mean, if you find a test as tough as this, if we call it tough or lengthy or tedious, give us at 15-20 minutes. In 15-20 minutes, if you can get 10 marks, that does the job for you. So, just think of it accordingly then. Anyway, I am moving further now and showing you the next question. So, this is another set now. This is a small set. You can see here it's just 2 questions on investment. Read it quickly, we'll discuss it. Now, again, it's a lot of data for 2 questions, just 2 questions. You might choose to leave that, but let's just try and understand how it's to be done. That way, if a question like this comes and it contains a little more in terms of questions, because it has got some data, but the questions are not that difficult. It shows you the investment, the profit generated by 6 people and the time periods for which these people are invested. It does not tell you the actual investments, the money that they have invested. But what you know is that if you talk about the profits, profit is a function of 2 things. It will be the investment, whatever is the investment amount, into time period. This is the 2 things on which the profit depends. So, I'll just tell you a way of doing it, just understand it. This is good for good as a learning for you. So, just take it like that. Here you know the time periods given. Now, if you look at this question, it talks about R, U and Q. Read the question carefully once if you have not read it. Now, we have to compare the investments of R, U and Q. Let's first compare say Q and R. If you talk about Q and R, in what ratio are their profits? This is Q, this is R. This is 3:2. This is 3 and this is 2. So, profits for Q and R are in the ratio of 3:2. And if you look at the investment in time periods, this is 15 and 18. So, this is 5:6. Fine. So, if you have to just follow this rotation, since we have reduced it, we have ignored everything else. So, profit is equal to investment into time. So, what would be the investment? There will be profit upon time. So, for Q, what would this be? Profit is 3 and the time period is this 5, because investment would be equal to profit upon time according to this. So, we have reduced it, but still it is consistent with each other. So, for Q, it would be 3/5. Fine. Likewise, if you check for R here, in these terms only, R, the profit is 2 and the time period is 6. So, this is 2/6, which is 1/3. So, this is the investment of Q in units and this is the investment of R in units. Please mind it that we have reduced only for Q and R. So, whatever ratio we get would be only for Q and R. So, if we talk about the ratio of investments of Q and R, it will be Q is to R would be equal to 3/5 divided by 1/3, which would be equal to 3/5 into 3, which becomes 9/5, or this is 9:5, you can say that. So, we can arrive on this ratio of investments of Q and R quickly like this, if you can just work with this. Now, we can do a similar exercise for U as well, because the comparison is with Q, R, U here. So, if we just kind of erase this just to make you understand here, we can just continue forward with this. Let me just show that to you. How do you calculate for U here? Now, what would you do? This is Q and U, this and this. So, this ratio is 10 and 9. Now, Q and U here, this is 15 and 25. So, what would you take that as? This is 5 into 3 and this is 5 into 5, 3, 5. What would you do now? Again, you divide profit by this thing. For Q, it would be what? 9/3. So, 9/3 would be equal to, this is 9/3, that's equal to 3 here. Okay, do it likewise for U. For U, the profit is 10 and the number is 5. So, 10/5, that's 2. So, Q is to U, the investment is in the ratio of 3:2. Now, QR 9:5, QU 3:2. Can we say that Q is to R is to U would be equal to 9:5 is to, what is this, 3? If Q is 3, U is 2. If Q is 9, what would be U? It will be 6. So, this is the ratio, 9:5:6 is the ratio of investments of QRU. What is given to you here? Investment of R, that is 27,000. So, this 5 is 27,000. It says what is the difference between total amount invested by Q and U? So in terms of these units, Q invests 9 units and U invests 6 units. So difference would be 9 minus 6, that's 3 units. So 5 units is 27,000. So how much would be 3 units? So answer would be 3 upon 5 into 27,000. Again, it does the job for you without getting into too much of a mess here. The answer would be 16,200, which is your final answer over here. If your understanding of ratios is right, it's not a tough one. Had it been a set of 4 or 5 questions, I would have said it's a must do. But yes, it's a little too much work for a two-setter, because you take some time in reading the set and trying to understand. But yes, the method I wanted you to understand the way we did here. You can just separate it and do it mentally like that very quickly. Look at the second question of this set. Now this is an easy question that might fool you in the sense that you think that it requires some work. It requires nothing. It says T and U enter into a partnership along with the new person A. So there is a new person who is introduced, whose investment is 60% of investment of T. So if the investment of T is 5 units, investment of this new person A would be 3 units. So this is investment. Fine. And time period of investment is 3 years. That's for A. So time period for A is 3 years, and what is the time period for T? That's 24 months, that's 2 years. Now, what would be their returns? And this product, so for person T, if it's 10 units of returns, for this guy, it is just 9 units of return. 3 into 3, 9, 5 into 2, that's 10. So 10 is to 9. Now, we don't need all this. इसकी ज़रूरत ही नहीं है इसके अंदर, because you already know how much profit this guy T gets 18,000, which is 10 units. So how much is 9 units? 9 upon 10 into 18k. Answer becomes 16.2k or 16,200. Again, exactly the same answer that was there in the last question. This is C. So I'll call it a setter. So at times, you don't have to do everything in the set. Just do those questions that seem easier. So this was an easy question. Just because something is given, it does not mean that you have to use it. So just be very careful with such things. This is an easy one. So you must have realized when we are doing all this that in between we are finding questions in which we do not have to do anything. So if you can just keep a cool head, just keep doing it, you can read carefully with a calm mind. 10-15 questions you always can do, and 10-15 2 markers will do the job for you. Most of these questions are 2 markers here, 60 marks, just 35 questions. So 10 2 markers is 20 marks. How much time? 45 minutes. It's definitely doable if your question selection is right. Let's move forward to the next one. It's again a set. It's a complete set of 5 questions on time, speed, distance, and I would call this an easy set. There is not much in it. This set here, this is an easy set, I'll say. Now in this data set, the upstream distance covered by 3 boats A, B, C are given on 5 different days of week. So this is distance given only upstream for 5 days for 3 different boats, and this is the speed of the stream given for 3 days out of 5. For 2 days, Tuesday and Thursday. This is the data that's giving. Some data is missing. So simple data here. It looks like some relief here. Read the question. If the speed of boat A in still water is 70% more than speed of boat B in still water on Thursday, right? Upstream journey of boat B on Thursday is 5 hours. Thursday, where is Thursday? This is Thursday, and we're talking about boat B. So this is 80 kilometers the distance covered. So 80 kilometers in 5 hours. So what is the speed? 16 kilometers per hour. 16 kilometers per hour is the upstream speed. What is the speed of stream on Thursday? It's 4. So what is the speed of B, speed of boat B in still water? That would be this 16 km per hour plus 4 km per hour. That would be 20 kilometers per hour. What is this 20 km per hour? Speed of boat B in still water. Now what is speed of boat A in still water? 70% more than that. So 20 km per hour into 1.7. So this is again not too much of a problem for you. This becomes 34 kilometers per hour. So this is the speed of boat A in still water. Speed of boat A in still water, and what would be the upstream speed? Again you subtract this 4 from this. So 34 minus 4 kilometers per hour again. So how much does it become? 30 kilometers per hour. So 30 kilometers per hour is the upstream speed of boat A. How much time would it take? Upstream journey. What is the distance covered by boat A? It is this distance. How much is this? This is 75. So 75 kilometers to be covered at this speed. So 75 by 30. How much is this? This is 2.5 hours. That is option A. I would call it an easy question, not too much data, not going here and there like the last set. This is a question that all of you should be able to do easily. Nothing much here. Look at the next one. Now, if you look at this one, there is again some data given over here. Upstream distance covered by boat C on Saturday is average of the distance covered for 5 days. You can calculate the upstream distance. Ratio of speed of boat in still water to speed of stream. So, 9:1. So, if this is the speed of boat in still water, the speed of stream is 1. And what is the downstream speed then? 9 plus 1, that is 10. Right. What is the upstream speed? 9 minus 1, that's 8. So, this is downstream speed 10, upstream speed would be 8. This is what we know. It says total upstream journey time is 2 hours. Then how much time will the boat take to cover the same distance down speed? Now, it's a sitter. It's an absolute sitter. The moment you realize this, that the ratio of the two speeds is 10:8, which is 5:4, you know the time. You don't actually need this data here. This is not required. Irrespective of what the distance it covers, the time would be just this only. So, 2 hours into, would the time taken upstream be more or less? Upstream would be more, upstream is 2 hours, so time taken downstream would be less. In what ratio? So, 2 hour into 8 by 10, or you could have written 4 by 5, which gives you 1.6 hours here, which is option C. It's an absolute sitter. You just need to read it. If your concepts are in place, you would have done it without doing anything. This is a simple one, very simple one. Look at the next one. Again, a smaller question. If on Tuesday speeds of all three boats in still water are same, so ABC speed in still water is same. Speed stream speed, it's 3, it's same. Average speed of upstream journey, that would also be same. I mean, if you're saying speed in still water is same, speed of stream is same, then upstream speed would also be same. It says average speed of upstream journey is 20 kilometers per hour. So, it's 20 kilometers per hour because individually also it will be 20 kilometers per hour, 20 kilometers per hour for each of the three, because boat speed same, stream speed same. So, upstream speed would also be same. So, this average is 20 and even the individual speeds are 20 for upstream journey. What will be the boat speed of boat in still water? If this is 20 here, what is the stream speed? 3. So, 20 plus 3 kilometers per hour. It is just this. So, answer is option B, which is 23 kilometers per hour. You don't have to do anything in this. Again a sitter, just a patient reading, you answer the question. So, the last two questions, in fact all three were easy in this set, but these last two did not require anything. Just read them, you mark the answer straight away, absolutely like that. There is nothing in this. Look at the fourth question now. Another easy one, not too much to read here. If it says on Friday ratio of speeds of boat ABC in still water is 679. So, for ABC it's 679 in still water. And upstream journey times of boat A and C are it's given. So, boat A, how much distance does it cover on Friday? 50. 50 divided by 2. So, this is what speed? 25 kilometers per hour. You get the speed of boat A, upstream speed on Friday, and this is 1.5 hours for boat C. Boat C, how much distance does it cover? This is this thing 60. So, 60 by 1.5, it's 40 kilometers per hour. So, you get the upstream speeds for boat A and boat C. This is for A and this is for C. Now, you can get the upstream speed for anything here. What you need is the upstream speed for boat B. So, either you can solve it or do it, or you can just do it by observation. This is the ratio of the speeds of boat in still water. So, when you look at this, this thing here, if the stream speed is S, so the upstream speeds would be like that: 6 minus S, 7 minus S, 9 minus S, whatever is subtracted is subtracting from everything, from all the three of them here, whatever this is. So, I am just telling you how to do it without even solving it or just by observation. So, whatever is the gap here, if you look at this gap, this is 6 minus S, this is 9 minus S. This gap would be 1/3 of that gap, because this is 6 minus S, 7 minus S. So, whatever is the gap between upstream speed of A and C, the gap between the upstream speed of A and B would be 1/3 of that. So, with this you know directly, with this observation, that if upstream speed of A is 25, C is 40, upstream speed of B would be equal to 30 kilometers per hour. I mean, you can either do it directly or just make a very small equation, and you know that the stream speed would be 5 kilometers per hour, then you can solve it and arrive on this. But though that's not required. What I did was A, B, C stream speeds are in the ratio 6, 7, 9. Even if you subtract the stream speed from them, these are both speeds, there would be 6 minus S, 7 minus S, 9 minus S. But what you know is, in terms of difference, the difference between A's upstream speed and C's upstream speed is 3 units. The difference between A's upstream speed and B's upstream speed is just 1 unit. So 3 units is this gap of 15 kilometers per hour. So 1 unit is what gap? It's a gap of 5. So 5 added to this gives you the upstream speed of B, which is 30. It says what is the upstream journey time? How much distance does boat B do? It's this distance 65. So 65 divided by 30. So that's 2 hours and 10 minutes, which is option B. I'll say again, very doable, nothing difficult here. And this is the last question, just read it quickly now. So how do we do this? If you look at this, speed of stream on Thursday, 20% less than the speed of stream on Monday. So speed of stream on Thursday is given as 4. So speed of stream on Monday would be 5. That's simple. And speed of boat A in still water on Monday is 40% more than the speed of boat B in still water on Monday. This is also given here. Finally, it's asking what is the speed of boat A in still water. So assuming that it would be all integers here, generally in questions like that, or if you have to use options, we generally go with this. Speed of boat B would be equal to, if you look at this, since boat A is 40% more, speed of boat B would be equal to 5 upon 7 into speed of boat A. Now look at what all options would be there. That will give you integer values for B. I can see option A, B and D are ruled out, and all the multiples of 7. So option A and C makes sense to check. Let's check for A first. So if you are saying speed of A is 35, what is the speed of B? Speed of B would be 25, and this is in still water. So what would be the speed upstream? So 35 minus this 5 here, it becomes 30, and for B it becomes 25 minus 5 becomes 20. So the speed becomes 30 and 20 respectively if we go with option A. I am just checking with options here. If it doesn't satisfy, I will go to option C then. But it's an easier one to check because these numbers are also good, 30, 20, they are easier to check. What are the distances covered on Monday? If you look at this, this is 60 and 55. So 60 by A. So 60 by A and at a speed of 30. So 60 by 30, it's 2 units if you talk about the time here. And if you talk about this boat B, it's 55. So 55 by 20. This is how much can we reduce it? This is 11 by 4. Fine. So this 11 by 4 is the time taken here, and this is 2 units time taken here. So 2 divided by 11 by 4, or you can say this is 2 into 4 by 11, which is equal to 8 by 11. This 8 by 11 is the same 8 by 11, so it means it's consistent. The answer becomes option A. So at times you can, rather than going it like that, you can just check with options. There could have been just one option like this, then it becomes easier. But when you check with options, you don't do it mindlessly and you look at things like that. So the only option that will really check would be A and C, and it generally gives you the answer. You've seen so many such questions, they would not give you non-integer values generally in all such questions. So you can just make use of that. One mistake that people can make here, I've seen people making this mistake here, and this is that you will say any option that's divisible by 7 would be the answer. No, it's not required. I mean, yes, we know that it's probably an integer, but don't think if there is just one option that's divisible by 7 that becomes the answer. No, it's not like that. It might be some other option as well. So just be careful with this one. Anyway, I'm going to the next question then. Now this is the next question. This is again in the stuff paper, again a set of 2 questions, and just look at the amount of data given to you over here, and that's like so much. It's about 5 mixtures, P, Q, R, S, T. Mixtures are made up of different components and all. It's not too difficult, but I would have been probably tempted to solve this had it been a set of 5 questions and all. But for 2 questions to make all this table and all, it's just 2 questions. It doesn't make too much sense. So I just kind of left it. If you want, you can just go through the solution. It's not too difficult, you'll understand. But for a 2 question set, it's too much data to solve. So just left it. I'll not do it. That's the only 2 questions I'll not be solving now. So this is 1 and 2. And this is the last set here. This is again a set of 3 questions. I'm doing it for 2 reasons. Again, looks something to read here, but the data is not as complicated as the last one. You'll just be able to fill the table up quickly. And 2, it's on probability. I wanted to make you understand something. So this is the last question that we are going to discuss today in this longish session. Just give it a quick reading and we can discuss it then. Now this is some data, but the first thing that you will need to do is make a small table kind of a structure like this. Dell, HP, 4 brands of what is this, laptops, Lenovo and Acer. Fine. So it's like that, and then you make this kind of a structure for 1, 2, 3, 4, and what is this, 5 shops. This is P, Q, R, S and T. What's given to you, just you can just fill it up very quickly. The number of HP laptops and Acer laptops in shop T is 7 and 14. So HP and Acer, so this is 7, this is 14, that's given to you here. Just keep reading, you can just fill it up quickly. The number of Acer laptops in shop T is 250% more than the number of Dell laptops in shop Q. Dell laptops in shop Q is the comparison is given, Dell laptops in shop Q, the comparison is given with Acer laptops in shop T. So Acer laptops in shop T is 14, it's 250% more. If 250% more, then what is the number that we are talking about? That's 4. 14 is 250% more than 4, you know it. 250% more means 3.5 times basically. So you divide 14 by 3.5, you can arrive at this number here. This is 4 units of Q for Dell, you know this. And read forward, the ratio of number of Dell laptops in shop Q to the number of Lenovo laptops in shop Q is 2:3. So Lenovo laptops in shop Q, it's 2:3. So this is 4, it becomes 6. So this is again not difficult. The number of HP laptops in shop P is 1 more than the number of Dell laptops in shop Q. HP in P is 1 more than the number of Dell laptops in shop Q. So HP in P would be, Dell in Q is 4. So HP P would be 5. Again easy to fill. The number of Acer laptops in shop P, Acer in P is half the number of Lenovo laptops in shop Q. Lenovo in Q is 6, so half of it would be 3. So Acer in P would be half of 6, that is 3. So this is how you solve a caselet. So but the thing is that it's not a usual caselet. You make this table and then it's a question of probability. So again, nothing very easy in this paper like that. You'll have to do some work here. Let's move to the next paragraph. The ratio of number of HP laptops in T to the number of Dell laptops in R is 7:8. HP in T we already know it's 7, and Dell in R would be how much then? It will be 8, right? Right, and the ratio of number of Dell laptops in R, so Dell in R to HP in R, Dell and HP in R is 4:3. So this is R, Dell and HP in R is 4:3. So this 4 denotes 8 units here, you can see that. So this would become 6 units. So Dell and HP would be 4:3 in shop R. This is also done. Move forward. The number of Dell laptops in S is 1 less than number of HP laptops in R. HP in R is 6. So Dell in S would be 5. So Dell in S would be 5. Where do we write this? This becomes 5 here then. Good. And the last one, the number of Lenovo laptops in S is 40% of the number of Dell laptops in the same shop. So Dell in S is 5 and Lenovo is 40%. Lenovo in S. So Lenovo in S would be 40% of this value. So that would be equal to 2. So this becomes your actual number here. So this is the complete table that you'll need to do here. This is the complete structure that you have got here, from which you can now answer the questions. Look at the questions now. If the ratio of the number of HP laptops to ratio of to the number of Acer laptops in shop S is 11:4, where is S? So this is 11 and this is 4. This is just the ratio, so I have encircled them. And the probability of picking an Acer laptop at random from shop S is 1 by 22 less than the probability of picking a Dell laptop at random from the same shop. Now this is observation, I will not solve it. 5 plus 11, 16 plus 2, 18 plus 4, 22. If I just keep the numbers like that, HP at 11 and Acer at 4, it gives you 22, and you realize that this probability is actually 1 upon 22, because 5 upon 22 minus 4 upon 22 is 1 upon 22. So it's a simple situation that's given to you here. So what you know is that HP actual number is 11 and Acer actual number is 4 here, just by observation, not doing anything here. So these are the numbers that are given over here. It says probability of picking a Dell laptop at random from the same shop. This is done. What is the total probability of picking 3 HP laptops from shop S? 3 HP laptops from shop S. You can either do this HP, how many laptops are there? 11 out of total of 22. So you can just do it like that. 11 C3 upon how many? 22 C3. Either solve this or you can do this. 11 upon 22 into 10 upon 21 into 9 upon 20. So solve this. This is 2. This is 2. This is how much? 3 and 7. It gives you 3 upon 28, which is the answer to the first question. This is given to you here. So nothing here. I mean, making this table first and then going on to the questions here. Let's look at the next one. Look at this one now. If the number of Dell laptops in shop P is 7 less than the number of Lenovo laptops in the same shop, and the ratio of probability of picking 2 Dell laptops is this, then what is the total number of laptops in shop P? I'll need to go back to the table. Let's just pick the numbers for shop P from there. These are the numbers. If you look at this first row, these are the numbers that we need for shop P. This is, let's just copy this part of the table. Dell, HP, Lenovo, Acer, 5, 3. Okay. Dell, HP, Lenovo, Acer. It's for P here. I'm just writing the numbers for P. It's 5, 3. This is 5 and this is 3 over to here. It says what is the total number of laptops in shop P. So total would be the sum of all these. Now you have to, either you can just make an equation and solve it. It'll give you a quadratic. It can be solved, or you can use options in a question like this. What you know is that the answer has to be one of these 4 options. What's given to you? Number of Dell laptops in shop P is 7 less than the number of Lenovo laptops in same shop. Now if you look at these numbers, just think about it logically. Can the total number of laptops in shop P be an even number? Just think about that. Let's say it's 24, just to explain to you. So 24, you subtract 3, you subtract 5 for HP and Acer. So 24 minus 8 would be 16. If this is 16 laptops that are left here, it says number of Dell laptops in shop P is 7 less than the number of Lenovo laptops. You can never divide Dell and Lenovo when the total is like this. So you're saying that this is Dell plus Lenovo as 16, fine, and what's given is Lenovo minus Dell is equal to 7, right? So it can never give you integer solutions, and the number of laptops has to be integer. How do I know without solving that it's not going to give me an integer solution? I mean, if you look at this, this will give you 2L is equal to 23, which is not an integer solution. How do I know it like that? I'll just think of it like that. They've got an equal number of laptops, and then Lenovo has got 7 more. So Lenovo, Dell, let's say I put them equal. Here, when I put them as equal, number of Dell laptops is 7 less, so I give 7 more to Lenovo. So whatever is this number would be an odd number for Lenovo and Dell. So Dell Lenovo has to be an odd number. This L plus D would always be odd. If this is odd here, 5 plus 3 is 8, this is even. So odd plus even would be odd. So if you look at these options, 24, 22, 36, they are all ruled out. So only possible option is 33, but I'll need to check for 33. And at times I not even check that, but I'll advise you to check that. Since none of these is also there, had not been there, I would not have checked that. So you'll check for 33. So you can assume that the number is 33 for total, and then you can check that. 33 minus 8 for HP and Acer. This is going to give you 25. Then 25 mein you subtract this 7. So 25 minus 7 is give you 18. So 18 by 2 is the number that you assign to Dell. So this is Dell, and what is left? 9 plus 7 at 16. So 16 plus 9, 25, it's satisfying. This is how you assign the numbers: 9, 5, 16 and 3. Now you need to check if this ratio is being satisfied. If this is satisfied, 33 is the answer, otherwise none of these becomes the answer here. What is the condition here? Ratio of probability of picking 2 Dell laptops to the probability of picking 2 Lenovo laptops. Dell is 9, so basically 9 C2, denominator would be the same, if you talk about it, 33C2 would be the common denominator. So let's not talk about that. And what would be the probability for Lenovo laptops, since we are talking about ratios here? Lenovo would be 16C2. So this is what we need to check. How much is this? This is 9 into 8 upon 16 into 15. So this is 2, this is 3, this is 5. So this is 3 upon 10 basically. Fine. You can see that this is also 3 upon 10. So this value satisfies. This becomes your answer here in this case. So look for these things, that they make your job easier in all such questions. So this is the use of number systems that generally happen in all these cases. Just showing you the last question for this one. This is the last one. Just look at it. Let's discuss it then. Again, this one is about Shop T now. Probability of picking 2 Acer laptops from Shop T. Let's just get the data for Shop T first. From here, Shop T is HP Acer 714. So this is let me just write this. This is for Shop T. It's Dell, HP, Lenovo, and Acer. And what we know is that this is 7 and this is 14. So these are the numbers that we know for this thing. Dell and Lenovo is unknown here. Now what's given to you here, the difference in the probabilities for Acer and HP are given. For this probability, the difference of picking 2 is given to you here, and the probability of picking a Dell laptop from Shop T is 1/4. It says if you pick a laptop randomly, the probability that it's a Dell is 1/4. So it means what? If the total here is 4x, this has to be x. It can only happen then that the number of Dell laptops in the shop is 1/4 of the total number of laptops. Now you can make use of it. It says what is the number of Lenovo laptops in Shop T. You can reduce it. For example, if I take that as 11, for example, just to explain again. So if I put this as 11, 7 plus 11 plus 14, how much would this be? This would be 32. If this is 32, this 32 would be equal to 3x. 32 is 3x. X would not be an integer. So not everything would satisfy here. What you need to realize is 7 plus 14. This is 21. 21 is a multiple of 3. You need a multiple of 3 because these 3 add up to 3x. The total is 4x. This is x. So they have to be a multiple of 3. Now out of these, how many options are there which will give you a multiple of 3? 7 plus 14. This 11 is already ruled out here. 7 plus 14 is 21. It's already a multiple of 3. Now if it's already a multiple of 3, here also you will need a multiple of 3 to be able to do that. Now how many multiples of 3 are there? 11, 10, 14 are ruled out. They're not going to do the job for you. So just 9 and 12. I'm just telling you how to use number system in such questions. So 9 and 12, there are 2 possibilities. Just check them quickly here. So this would be either 9 or 12. And how would it work? If it's 9, what would be the value of x? This is 7 plus this would be 10 here in that case. And if it's 12, then it would be 11 here in that case. And I'm just showing you the complete possibilities as per the options. So in the first case it would be 40, and in the second case it would be 44. So these are the 2 possibilities here. Now if you don't want to calculate, how can you do it without any calculation or any knowledge here? Just think like that. When you are talking about picking 2 Acer laptops from a shop here, so 2 Acer laptops from a shop means what would be the denominator if you think about that? If it's 44, the denominator would be 44C2. I mean numerator को एक बार को जाने दो, because it's the same thing. Acer लो या फिर you take HP, whatever it is, but the denominator would be 44C2 if the total number of laptops is this. If the total number of laptops is 40, the denominator would be 40C2. Now just look at this part here, 7 upon 78. How can you get a 78 here in the denominator? Using this or this one? What is 78? 78 is equal to 13 into 6. Now these numbers are very good for doing such things. 13 is a prime number. If you do 44C2, 44C2 is what? 44 into 43. 44 into 43, there is no 13 in it. You cannot form a 13 in any way by using 44, 43. Whereas if you look at 40C2, this is 40 into 39. 39 is 3 into 13. So you clearly know there is a 13 here. So I have not used anything in probability here. You can cross check, the 9 here would satisfy, 12 would be ruled out, but I am saying you can do it merely by observation. First you eliminate 3 options because they do not give you an integer value for the number of Dell laptops. Then you are left with 9 and 12. If you have got 12 here, then the total number is 44. 44 means that the denominator in both these probabilities would be 44C2. 44C2, 44 into 43. This is never going to give you a denominator of 78. It can only be achieved by this 40C2. If you want, you can just cross check it by doing the calculations, you will get the same answer. But without doing it, we know that the answer has to be this option B, that's 9. So these are the things that you need to take care of in all such questions. They actually come in handy at times and would save you some work. Otherwise, at times you'll need to make a quadratic, it'll waste some time for you. So these are the things that actually do the job for you. This is where I'm going to end the session now. It's a longish one because I solved almost everything for you here. This is the message for you. I mean, if you ask me what is the takeaway, how do we do it, I'll say this is the important thing for you. Selecting the right questions to do is the key to do well. You pick the right questions and then it becomes easier for you. If you just reflect on this session, I did not do 2 questions, I did 33 questions for you here. If you reflect on these questions, even if you say that some things would not click to me, you would easily realize that there are 10-15 questions, maybe even slightly more than that, that if you could have kept your nerve, had not panicked, you could have easily managed in whatever was the stipulated time limit. There were some questions that were very lengthy, but we did that because we wanted to understand. In case the paper is very difficult, we have to do something over here. But if you can just hold your nerve, you can do something in the paper. So if the first set looks very lengthy, lots of stuff in it, the way we did a few questions over here, wait for the right set. Just in these 45 minutes, you can just probably spend the first 3-4-5 minutes scanning the paper, writing what's all there in the paper, what would you want to do, what would you not want to do, zeroing on the right questions. Don't do this that you start with a set first of 5 questions and the first thing that you start doing in the paper is that set of 5 questions. No, that's not the ideal way to do it. Maybe there are easier questions waiting for you towards the end of it. So these are the things that you need to take care of. If you do it like that, I can guarantee you the paper cannot be tougher than what you see here. No, it will be easier. In the exam, you do not get the actual paper. So since you do not get the actual paper, once you come out, you'll feel as if it was very difficult. No, it's generally not that difficult. It's that you have not read all the questions properly. So question selection would be the key. Do it well. Try it out in the mocks. Mocks is where you actually try all the stuff, and then it becomes easier for you in the actual test. There is one question that you keep asking me all the time: how do we analyze it? There are 2 things that I in fact want to answer here. How do we analyze the test? Analyze कैसे करना है किसी भी test को? If you talk about specifically about this section, Ratnabha did it for English already. Though it's true for everything, there are 2 things that you would want to check. One would be the solutions of all the questions. Whether you knew something you could not do, were there any questions that were easy that you left, things like that, fine, all these things. So apart from solutions, you will look at these things as well. What you missed in the session, was there a question type on which you gave a lot of time but it was not that fruitful, wrong choice of questions. So this would be a thing that would be very, very important when it comes to analysis. Solutions, it's fine. If it's a very tough, ridiculously tough question, you can probably leave the solution part. But what you missed, what was your choice of questions, how many easier questions were there that you did not check, that you could not reach, fine. How many questions were there that you could solve, but you actually gave them 8 minutes, 10 minutes for 1.5 mark, 2 marks even. So look for all these things while doing the analysis. Give it some time. So this is one question that I keep facing all the time: how to analyze. This is the way to analyze in English and reasoning and maths, quantitative aptitude, everything. Second is, you ask me, do I need to take full length tests? If my weakness is only quantitative aptitude, can I not take a sectional test? Yes, you can do that. If the time is very little, then you can obviously do that. But the reason we keep advising you to take these full length tests is it's a test of your stamina as well. You need to sit for 3.5 hours. So when you do quantitative aptitude in the middle of a a very strenuous slot of 3.5 hours, your performance tends to dip. Vis-a-vis you doing quantitative aptitude section just in a test of 45 minutes. 45 minutes vis-a-vis 3.5 hours. It's 4 times, 5 times the effort. So your performance tends to dip. So it might happen that when you take a sectional test, you do well in quant and you feel I'm on track. When you find quantitative aptitude in the middle of that 5 tests, I call it 5 tests including descriptive, you do not do that well. So take a few mock tests, if not everything. It depends completely on you. It's your call, your requirement, whatever way you look at it. But I would still suggest take some full length mock tests. It's 2 weeks from now. So I mean, you can probably say that it's not more 3, 4, 5, 4 mock tests at least. If there is somebody who's done everything and there's nothing left to do now, it's just revision and mock tests, you can probably take a test daily. I do not mind that. But yes, on the lower side also 3, 4 mock tests is definitely there. You should definitely aim for that. Mock tests without analysis do not make any sense. Analysis, I already told you. Solutions, what you missed, what you could have scored, what you did not score. There is an optimal score for everybody. Everybody's skill set is different and skill level is different. So I'm not saying do everything. I'm not asking you to do these 33 questions that I did here. No, you're not doing 33. Somebody could do 25. Somebody could do just 12. But whatever is achievable should be achieved. That is the mantra. I mean, if you ask me, if you at the end of the day say, "Nahi, I could have done only 12," then even an 11.5 is not acceptable. 12 means 12. Get to that 12, and you would realize that in all these mock tests, invariably you fall short of that number. You would always get that feeling, "Isse zyada kar sakta tha, isse zyada kar sakta tha." So I'm not saying that feeling would vanish. That would happen even on the actual exam day, but reduce it as far as possible. So when you come out of the examination hall on 4th of August, you should feel like, yeah, I did well. It may not be a great attempt, but looking at my competence level in the subject and looking at the difficulty level of the paper, whatever I did, be it 12 questions or 25 questions or 35 questions, I did well. I do not have any regrets coming out of the examination hall. Just think like that, then it's fine. So this is what I wanted to tell you when it comes to the analysis thing. I'll try uploading the reasoning analysis of the same test. It might take me some time because it's a lengthy thing, a lot of questions in this. We'll try doing that in a couple of days, and that will be the end of it. GK needs no analysis. Samir would be giving you all those files and all in the next 3-4 days for you to revise GK. Fine, so this would be the end of the session. Thank you very much for watching it. Please try and make good use of it. The things that I'm showing are not magic or anything. It's just simple, basic, commonsensical stuff that you can, with a relaxed, cool, calm head can do, apply yourself, and then they start working for you. Fine, I wish you guys all the very best. Just make good use of this session, and this is the time where you make all this count, all the hard work of these months and months. It boils down to these last 2-3, not 3, it's just 2 weeks now. So just make it count. Do full justice to your mains preparation. Do not take it lightly. It's all the reason for you now to put in your best foot forward. Thank you very much. I wish you guys all the very best. We'll see you in a few days' time. Thank you very much. Keep working hard. Thank you.